Steam and PC gaming in general has a problem. One of the biggest platforms in gaming is severely lacking in games. Almost an entire genre is missing entirely. A genre that is also super prevalent on other platforms, but most of the games are exclusives, which exist on all platforms as a mean for driving sales and setting each other apart. PlayStation has Dead Space Extraction and Resident Evil Chronicles, Nintendo has things like Star Fox or Icarus Uprising, and Xbox has a few, one of which is Crimson Dragon. And all of the console exclusive games that I just mentioned share one major similarity. They're all rail shooters, and in case you don't know what that means, it's a shooter just on rails. Meaning you don't have much freedom of movement, and you've likely seen or played one without even knowing it. One of the highest downloaded mobile games smash hit is a rail shooter, and if you've ever walked into an arcade in your life, you've likely seen or played one as well, since they're super prevalent there. Where they are not super prevalent, however, is on PC. There's recently been a surge of some VR titles, and otherwise there's some decent options like House of the Dead or Panzer Dragon, as well as some indie titles, but they all lack meaningful progression or a real meta game to keep me hooked. Which is understandable, since rail shooters are typically built for arcades or casual singular sessions. I beat House of the Dead and Panzer Dragon in about an hour, and Crimson Dragon is a spiritual successor to Panzer Dragon with the same director. Yet even after 12 years, it remains exclusive to the Xbox platform. But where Crimson Dragon differs from its predecessors is on all the bits and pieces that make me want to play it again, outside of just pushing for leaderboards, which is typically the only thing you can do in the other titles. You can collect multiple different dragons, each with their own stats and abilities, train and level them up, evolve them, change their attributes, and many more to make the dragon tailored to your specific game style, all while playing the rail shooter that's honestly quite decent with some pretty good boss fights. It might not be the prettiest looking compared to modern day games, but it did come out 12 years ago. But each dragon is best in different situations, adding a ton more layers of gameplay outside of just reaction speed and memorization, which you typically see in other rail shooters. And the predecessor Panzer Dragon, which is available on PC, lacks all the customization layers that Crimson Dragon has. And there's plenty of other rail shooters such as Icarus Uprising, which is exclusive to the Nintendo DS, and it has a whole looter shooter gear system, yet Icarus and all rail shooters that really take it to the next level are unavailable on PC. And that's likely due to what rail shooters are at its core. For one, rail shooters are pretty much just the same with a different paint job. You have a very limited toolset by limiting the movement, and all mechanics are just the same with different looking reticles and enemies. Because if you get too innovative, you're eventually just making a normal shooter game, or a blend of multiple genres. Even the award-winning game NieR Automata makes use of this with rail shooter segments, while the rest is just a normal RPG. As well as most rail shooters are designed to be played with a joystick and not a keyboard, as well as casually played. If you're looking at the Steam charts, you can see there's barely any players consistently playing in this genre. Besides in cash grab mobile games or an overly sexualized roguelike that, although it does place you on rails, you only strafe left and right, pretty much playing the role of a tower defense game, which is not the type of rail shooter that's missing on PC. And it's not like there's absolutely no drive for there to be a big player count rail shooter in the future. When Icarus Uprising was relevant and at its peak, you could consistently find PvP matches in seconds due to the huge player base, and PvP wasn't even the main mode. It's just that games like that don't exist anymore, and rail shooters are slowly fading in the background with less and less attention to them, since the ones readily available are casual and arcade focused, and just something you play once or twice and you've pretty much seen everything the game has to offer, with no need to dive deeper, leading to low player counts and even lower attention. Yet rail shooters consistently remain as one of my favorite genres, and it's just an incredibly simple concept to add meaningful progression and other mechanics outside of just simple upgrades to a rail shooter. Yet it does not exist on PC, and instead are all just locked behind console exclusives, which came out a long time ago. So do you think rail shooters are dead as a genre and just a relic of the past and shouldn't exist past an arcade machine? Or something that could make a resurgence with the right framework? But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Who knows, maybe it'll even be some new groundbreaking rail shooter.
I must compliment you. I didn't think you could make it this far. However, this is it.